Okay, so some of my students are having trouble with factoring, so I am showing a series of videos on factoring to help you guys out. And today I want to discuss factoring polynomials in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c to show you how to factor them if they can indeed be factored. I do have a trick. I will not claim copyrights on this trick. I don't know if it existed before I actually thought of it. It may have, but I didn't refer to any books. I just thought of it on my own. So I will show you this very neat trick that would make your life super easy when factoring polynomials in that form. And I will illustrate a couple of examples to show how to do the trick. So let's say we have a polynomial in the form of, so today we are factoring this. So let's take an example, and let's say our polynomial looks like 2x squared minus 9x minus 5. Okay, so the trick is to take this first number here, the a, okay, and multiply it on the last term, which is the 5. So take it and multiply it here. So this polynomial becomes, there's no more 2, so this is just x squared minus 9x minus 10. And now this is a relatively simple polynomial to factor, because all you need to do is think of two numbers that multiply to minus 10 and add up to minus 9. And I do have other videos on how to factor this simpler polynomial. If you guys need help on that, check out my other videos. But it goes something like that. You list the factors of minus 10, what times what multiplies to minus 10. You can think of it in your head. Most people like to think of it in their head, so they don't write stuff down, or you can write it on the side. You can say to get minus 10, it's either has to be minus 10 times 1, or 10 times minus 1, 5 times negative 2, or negative 5 times 2. And you look for the pair that adds up to 9. And clearly, the very first pair adds up to minus 9. Therefore, the first pair will be your pair. So the two numbers will have to be minus 10 and 1. And so what you do is you line them up. So this has to be x plus 1 times x minus 10. Now, this factoring factors this polynomial, not the original one. But now, one more step and you'll be there factoring the original polynomial. And that little tweak you have to do here is, all you have to do is, you remember that 2 that you took it and you multiplied it on the last term? Now, all you have to do here is take that 2 that you did, the same number, whatever the number is, and multiply it back on the first, and divide it on the last. And now the answer becomes 2x plus 1 times x minus 10 over 2 is 5. And this definitely factors the original polynomial and would be the answer to your question. So it really involves a few simple steps, but don't forget to undo the step that you did at the very beginning by multiplying that number back on the first term, not the first factor, the first term, and dividing it out on the last term, not the last factor. Let's do another example to sink the idea even further. Okay, let's take another example. 5x squared plus 13x minus 6. Okay, again, we will take this 5 here and we will multiply it here. So now the polynomial becomes x squared plus 13x. 5 times 6 is minus 30. And we will do the box trick. We will look for two numbers that multiply to 13 and add up to minus 30. And again, I have, if you guys have trouble with this, I do have videos on the more factoring, this more of a basic polynomial. You can check it out if you want. So minus 30. So we have clearly 15 and 2, the pair, and one of them has to be negative because this anytime one sign is negative, that means one of them has to be a negative. Otherwise, when you multiply them, it doesn't work out. And you may ask which one will be a negative, and so the pairs here that will get me 30 are 15 and 2. And since I'm trying to get plus 13x in the middle, so the two numbers have to add up to plus 13. So the bigger number clearly has to be the plus, and the other one has to be the minus. So this polynomial factors into x minus 2 times x plus 15. And now you have, remember, you have to undo the trick. So you have to go back and take that number 5 that you grabbed at the very beginning, and you'd have to multiply it on the first. So you'd have to put it back here. So this becomes a 5x minus 2. And you'd have to divide it on the last, right here. So this becomes plus 15 over 5. And then you would get 5x minus 2 times x plus 3. And this would certainly is the factor for the original polynomial. Now, you may ask, what if in the process of doing this, instead of writing x minus 2 times x plus 15, what if someone chose to do instead x plus 15 times x minus 2. Now, to go and undo that trick means you have to multiply the first x by 5, which is fine because you'll get 5x plus 15. But now that just means you're going to have to go and divide. That means you have to go and divide the 2 by 5, and this makes it x minus 2 over 5. And that's not very neat, is it? Because you'd have a fraction. Well, the answer to that question is twofold. One, if you run into a situation like this, just go ahead and swap the terms back, because in math 2 times 3 is equal to 3 times 2. So try to not get yourself into that position. The other way is to actually go one or two more steps further, and you will get the same exact answer. Here's what I mean. So far we have x plus 15, and we factored this into x minus 2. And when you want to undo the trick, there's a 5 here, so you'd have to multiply here by 5, and you'd have to divide here by 5. And the way out of this, the second way, is go ahead and factor the 5 out of here. So that gets you 5 times x plus 3. And since this is multiplication, I can just choose to put the 5 here. And then I have here x minus 2 over 5. And now all I have to do is take this 5 and FOIL it here, and then FOIL it here, and that will get rid of my fraction and make it an integer. So this becomes x plus 3 times 5 times x will be 5x minus 5 times negative 2 over 5 will just get you negative 2. And this does it, and it indeed gets you the same answer you got, except with the terms swapped. It's an identical answer, and it works just fine. So usually, if you guys don't like this last step, it's fine. Just go ahead and swap the terms such that it works. But I do have to tell you that there are times when you are factoring where this step becomes essential and becomes needed, because no matter which term comes first, one of them will turn out to be a fraction, and for you to eliminate that fraction, you would have to do this, and that's why I went all the way to explain it. That does it. I hope this helps. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribing is essential. It keeps me going. I'm trying to expand this channel, and I'm trying to establish my way through some resources so I can help you guys out and keep posting these math and physics videos, and lots of resources will only take you seriously if you have enough subscriptions. So I really appreciate you subscribing to my channel. Thanks.